Hello all, welcome back to operating system course. So in the last class we had seen till round robin algorithm. So today we will continue the discussion with the multi-level queue scheduling algorithm. Okay. So this is another class of algorithms that has been created for the situations wherein the processes can be easily classified into different groups. Say for example, the most common division among the process is like foreground and the background process. So foreground, it is nothing but your interactive processes, and background processes are nothing but your batch processes. Okay. Now these two types of processes, they have different response time. The time which is required for the execution of the foreground process is different from the time that the batch process requires, right? So in addition, these foreground processes, they also have the priority over the background process. That means the foreground processes are of higher priority compared to your background or the batch processes. So here in the multi-level queue scheduling algorithm, it partitions the ready queue into several separate queues. As you can see in the diagram, there are five separate queues are there. So these things we call it as queue. Okay. So this is system process queue, this is interactive process queue, this is interactive editing, this is batch process, and this is student process queue. Remember, these five are the different queues, and these queues have their own processes. Okay, the system process queue, it has only system processes. Interactive process queue, it only has the process that are interactive. Now all these queues, okay, all of these five different queues, whatever you can see here, right, they are still present in a single ready queue. Okay, the ready queue, it contains five different queues, and these five different queues, they will have the processes which belong to them. The processes, okay, they are permanently assigned to one queue, that is generally based on the property of the process. So the property of the process, such as your memory size, process priority, or your process type, it decides the process has to go in which particular queue. Okay. Now each queue, it has its own scheduling algorithm. Like, say suppose your batch process can have this entire queue, or whatever the process are there in this queue, they will follow FCFS algorithm. Or say your interactive process, whatever the processes which are in this interactive processes queue, it may follow round robin algorithm. Or say student process, it can also follow FCFS, like this. So each queue will follow different algorithm. Okay. And again, inside this ready queue we have five different queues, right? Again, these queue also, it will follow some algorithm. Okay. So basically, the algorithm which is used for among your queues is your fixed priority preemptive scheduling. Okay. So as in the diagram, you have here five different queues, right? So these queues are listed based on the priority. That means whenever the system process, whenever a process which is under the system process it executes, that means it is of higher priority. Okay. First one, the in the priority line, the first one is the highest priority one is the system process, then comes interactive, then your interactive editing, then batch process, and the last one is the whatever we say the lowest priority is your student processes. Say for example, now you want to say execute one process which is in this queue, batch process. Okay, say we have a process p, okay, p1 here, and we want to execute this process. Now the condition is such that whenever you want to execute something from the batch process, you have to make sure your system process queue is empty, interactive process queue is empty, and interactive editing process queue is empty. Or say suppose you want to execute some process in the student queue, that means these four queues must be empty, then only you can start executing the process which are there in the student process queue. Okay. Now say for let's assume that we are executing this process p1 which is in the batch queue. Fine. And the condition is these three queues, whatever which is present above the batch process queue are empty, okay, and we are executing this process P1. Now say suppose there comes, whenever you are executing in the interactive process queue, there is one process, or at the same time whenever you are executing P1, there enters in the interactive process queue a process called as A1. So now in this situation what will happen is like you were executing P1, right? So this has to be preempted and this higher priority process has to be executed. Then again, once this execution A1 execution is done, again you have to check whether these three queues are empty. Then only you can start executing the whatever you have preempted, that batch process, right? You can take up and you can execute it. Okay. Now another possibility is to time slice among the queues. That means each queue gets a certain portion of your CPU time which it can then schedule among its various processes. So for example, in the foreground and the background queue example, the process foreground queue can give like 80% of the CPU time for round robin scheduling among its processes, whereas the background queue can receive another 20% of the CPU to give its processes on the FCFS basis. So either make sure the higher, whatever the above queues are empty and then start executing, or what you do is like allow the CPU time or allow CPU to be shared among all the queues on a time slice basis. Okay, so this is about your multi-level queue scheduling. We do not have any problems to solve for this one. Fine. Next, we will study about multi-level feedback queue scheduling. So normally whenever the multi-level queue scheduling algorithm is used, that is the previous one, whenever that algorithm is used, the processes that will be, whenever they enter the ready queue, they will put up into a, permanently they will be assigned to a queue, right? So say suppose whenever batch process enters the ready queue, it will be permanently put into the batch process queue. Say whenever system process enters into the ready queue, it will be put into the system process queue, right? So if there are separate queues for foreground and background processes, for example, okay, so the process in the multi-level queue scheduling which we have seen earlier, so there what will happen is the process will not move from one queue to another queue. Okay, why? Because the process do not change their foreground or the background properties or the nature. Fine. But in the multi-level queue scheduling, what will happen is like it allows the process to move from one queue to another queue. So in the diagram you can see here three queues, right? So this is, say suppose Q0, Q1 and Q2. So what will happen is here, whenever the process enters in the system or enters the ready queue, that would be all the processes that they'll be put up in this Q0, and then the process can move from Q0 to Q1, then Q1 to Q2. How they will move, I will tell you. Okay. So as we all know, in this scheduling, that is multi-level feedback queue scheduling, the process can move from one queue to another queue, right? So the idea here is to separate the process according to the characteristic of the CPU bus, that is the time required by the process to complete its execution. So if a process that uses too much CPU time, then it will be moved to a lower priority queue. Okay. So whenever the process, when it has been moved to the lower priority queue, say it waits too long in that lower priority queue. So then what will happen is like it would be moved to the higher priority queue. So this form of aging, it prevents the starvation. Okay. So for example, consider here we have three queues, right? Q0, Q1 and Q2. Now the scheduler first what will it do is like it will execute all the process which are in this queue 0, then it will move to the process that are in the Q1 and execute them, and later it moves to Q2 and execute all the processes that are in the Q2. But only condition is whenever you want to execute the process that are in the Q1, you have to make sure your Q0 is empty, and whenever you want to execute something in the some process that are in the Q2, you want to make sure you want to make sure that Q0 and Q1 both are empty. Okay. Again, whenever you are executing something, some process in Q2, and say suppose some process comes in Q0, then what will happen is like your process, whatever you are executing in the Q2, it has to be preempted, and the CPU would be given to the process which is in the Q0, and after its execution, whenever these two Q0 and Q1 are empty, then the process which you have left in the middle can be picked up and you can start executing it. So a process, whenever it enters a ready queue, it would be put up in the Q0. So a process in Q0 is given a quantum of 8 milliseconds. So here quantum 8 milliseconds is nothing but the process, all the process that enters into the ready queue that would be put up in this Q0, right? All of them will be given the same time quantum. That means 8 milliseconds will be assigned to all the processes. Okay. So if the process it does not finish within this 8 milliseconds, then what will happen is like that particular process it would be executed for 8 milliseconds, then it would be removed from this Q0 and it would be put into the tail of Q1. Okay, this is head here, okay, and this is tail of the queue. So whenever a process it executes for 8 milliseconds and say suppose it needs more time, more milliseconds to complete its execution, then that particular process would be removed from Q0 and that would be put up into the tail of the Q1. So if the Q0 is empty, then the process that are present in the Q1 would start executing. How it would start executing is like from here, from the head. So whichever the process it is present at the head of the Q1, that would be given 16 milliseconds and it would be executed. Say suppose it finishes its task, then that means it would be terminated and moved out of the ready queue. Say suppose even then providing 16 milliseconds, the process has not finished its execution. At that time what will happen is like the particular process will be removed from the Q1 and it would be moved to the Q2. Okay, where in the Q2? At the tail of Q2. Okay, so whenever this Q1, this particular queue, it becomes empty, then the last queue, that is Q2, will start executing its process from the process which are at the head of the queue. Okay, so the Q2, the process in the Q2 are executed in FCFS fashion, that is first come first serve. So that means particular process, say suppose it requires 20 milliseconds also, extra 20 milliseconds, then also it is executed in one go, it is not preempted. Fine. Again, whenever this Q2, we are saying Q2 will be executed in FCFS fashion, right? So that will be executed only when your Q0 and Q1 is empty. Until then Q2 will not be executed. So this particular scheduling algorithm, it gives highest priority to any process with a CPU burst time of 8 milliseconds. Then if it does not finishes in this 8 millisecond, then it would be given 16 milliseconds, and lastly that would be executed in the FCFS fashion. Okay. So this is about your multi-level feedback queue scheduling, and this completes your second chapter. That's it for today. We'll conclude our session. Thank you.